Okay, everybody, welcome to my Wikispaces page. For today's class lesson, we're going to go deep into FDR's New Deal programs. Some will call it the alphabet soup because of all the acronyms that are basically involved with it. So basically, there were three aspects of most of the programs FDR had: relief, recovery, and reform. Relief was basically just an attempt to give money to the American people just in this time of an economic crisis to help out the common man and family get through. Recovery was a way to create programs to give jobs for all these people that were unemployed at the time and just in these absolute scary economic times, while reform was basically an attempt to what can we do to not have another depression like this in the future? What programs can we make to prevent one of these from ever happening again, if possible, because it was such a horrible, traumatic event. So just below are some 6 programs or things that FDR passed while he was in office. If we look into each one of them was the banking holiday, where FDR basically closed the banks for 4 days. FDR closed the banks to prevent people from withdrawing all their money out of the banks. This would definitely hurt the economy because the banks didn't have any money, they couldn't make any investments. And when people heard that, well, we're losing all this money, people decided they had to take their money out because they thought they were going to lose it all. Another one of the programs was the NIRA, the National Industrial Recovery Act. This basically focused on massive government intervention, which is a common theme we'll talk about throughout the New Deal, and was responsible for regulating wages and economic productions. So instead of corporations deciding how much to make, the government actually made set limits of how much production should be made for products. So basically, this is something completely groundbreaking, really, and definitely a few socialist aspects to it that show that that theme of government intervention and government mass control of production during the economic crisis. Another program, Social Security. We hear it in the news a lot today. A lot of politicians are debating and even want to cut some of the aspects of it. So we'll look into that. Social Security was created at this time to basically help out those who were 65 who couldn't work. So the unemployed would be able to get money so they'd be able to survive by getting food and paying rent and all that stuff. As I said, this is something that's extremely important in upcoming elections where a lot of conservatives want to have budget cuts and especially cut this in particular. We talked about the Dust Bowl as well. One of the main programs to help with this issue was the Soil Conservation Act. The soil program was to prevent poor soil farming techniques. A lot of farmers in the Midwest overplowed land way too much and got way too greedy. And this overplowing basically led for not a very stable area of topsoil. This led to controlled farming techniques, this program, to prevent horrible acts that were not so much made by nature, by nature, but as well by human-made issues. And of course, another notable act was the WPA, the Workers' Progress Administration. There were programs created by FDR that offered full jobs to unemployed, such as jobs as industry or even public work projects, such as working on constructing parks and buildings. And we might even look into a specific WPA project, the Federal Theater Project, which was actually really interesting because you got to remember, there are people who were jobless who were in the arts and theater. So FDR actually created programs to offer jobs to these people that set up government-ran plays. And we might actually go into the film The Cradle Will Rock. Great film, I really enjoy. I think you will as well. Basically discussing how much freedom of speech can these people have under government programs. And finally, my personal favorite program of the time, the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, sorry. This program employed a massive amount of mostly young men from cities to work outdoors in the environment. This was an attempt to promote reforestation and other ways to better the environment. One of FDR's favorite programs, mostly because not only did it set a good sense of morals, but FDR was worried that there were a lot of poor morals in the cities and that a job like this would be able to promote good working morals for the American people. So as we just went over those 6, I would like you to try and group them. by either relief, recovery, reform. So there should be two of each for each section. So was it relief? Was one of these events for immediate help of the American people during this economic crisis? Was recovery during the time of it and whether jobs were offered to the American people or a way to boost the economy during that time? Or was it reform? How can we prevent something like this from happening again? So try and figure out which one of those go under. Maybe some will go under both, and we'll talk more about that in class. See ya.